This is an ASKO T702C condensing dryer. Now, a condensing dryer is a different type of dryer than a vented dryer. And we offer this in many models, but today we're just going to talk about condensing dryers in general. And the biggest difference between a vented dryer and a condensing dryer is that a condensing dryer does not require venting. Not only does it not require venting, you can't vent it. There's no way to connect a vent to it. Now, it's good because you can put it virtually anywhere in a home or an apartment or any type of multi-housing complex because you don't have to add ventilation to the building to do it. And when you do that, it allows you to put it in spaces like a closet or in a bathroom or something like that. So it gives us many advantages from an installation standpoint. But one of the things that you have to be aware of is the fact that this does have to be maintained differently than a vented dryer. Now, the first thing you should always do is clean the lint filter on the inside of the door after every load. That's just pretty much common knowledge with any dryer. You just clean the lint off this, and ours is a double filter, so you would clean the inside of that as well. But what people don't realize with condenser dryers is that the lint filter can't collect it all. And so what happens is it ends up down in the lower part of the machine down here by the condenser. The other advantage to this is that since we don't have to vent it and we can put it virtually anywhere, you can drain the water outside. Since we're not venting outside, the moisture from the clothes have to go somewhere. So when you open the door of this, when you first uncrate it, there is a black drain hose that we supply with the machine. And when you turn it around, you'll find that on the back here, there's a blue connection right there, extension for this hose. You simply just take the hose and you slide it up there. There's not a lot of pressure on this, so there's no clamps or anything required to hold the hose in place. And also on the bottom here, you'll notice that there's an area that looks like you could connect a vent to, but actually there's no edge to this, so you can't actually clamp anything to it. This is where the cold air or the cool air from the room is being pulled into the machine. So you need a room that has a cool air source. So what does that mean? That means if you have it in a closet, you can't really shut the door because then you're recirculating the same hot air from the dryer over and over again, which makes the dry times longer and longer and longer. The other thing that can cause dry times to run longer is the fact that the condenser itself may be dirty and need to be cleaned. So what we want to do is show you how to clean that condenser. Now, the condenser is located behind this access panel in the bottom of the machine, and you will need a Phillips screwdriver to access this. And there's two screws that hold it in place, one on each side of it. And we'll go ahead and remove those screws. Once you have the two screws removed, you just easily pull the panel off. You now have exposed the door to the condenser, which is over here. Just move these tabs to the side, open it up, and you now expose the condenser. The condenser has a handle on it. You simply pull it out, and you can clean it. Now, the thing about cleaning is when you open this up, this is going to be covered with lint. And when we talk about cleaning, we mean about every quarter this needs to be cleaned. Now, if you have a pet, or maybe you have some new towels or something that generate a lot of lint, it may have to be done a little more often than that. But generally speaking, about every quarter, this needs to be cleaned. And you will see lint, like I said, on the front of this. So when you pull this out, how this works is the cool air from the back that I showed you, where you normally would vent, is pulling cool air into the machine. It's blowing the air across the condenser this way. The hot, humid air from the drum is blowing air this way. So as those two air masses collide on this condensing chamber, the moisture in the air is turned back into water, and it is funneled back to the back of the machine and then drained, like we showed earlier, out through the standpipe where the washing machine drains. To clean this, what you need to do is take a garden hose if you have a yard, or take it to the sink or a bathtub and run water through this and rinse this off. Now, you'll be able to see very clearly whether it's clean or not, but to be sure, if you just take this piece and hold it up and try to look through it, you will see any lint that's caught in between the slats here. So once this is clean, there is an up or down marking on this condenser. Obviously, you want the downside to be towards the floor. It slides back in. You go ahead and shut the door, lock it in place, and then put the cover back on. Snaps in place. Put your 2 screws back in, and you now have cleaned the condenser. One other thing you need to be aware of is the dryer should be level. You got to make sure it's level. You don't want any water from the condensing area running towards the front of the machine. You want to run it towards the back because that's where the pump is. So if you have the front a little bit higher than the back, that's not a bad thing, but it's important that it's level. A condenser dryer is a very unique piece. There are some things you have to be aware of to get the best performance out of it. If you have any other questions, please refer to the Use and Care Guide or call our customer service group at 1-800-898-1879.